All righty, I think we are live. Say what's up if you're in the chat. You. As you can see, I am solo dolo today. Zach is currently moving. So I appreciate each and every one of you that is here. Say what's up once again if you are in the chat here with me. Let's get it started, yo. Obviously, as always, rookie mock draft with some landing spots already in the description. Daniel Macy here, 49 days until the NFL draft here. I see WG in the chat. Up to the date. Briston Jones said, what's good, fam? Finally not working or busy when you are live. Hey, we appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming through. Dominic is here as well. What's happening, y'all? Once again, say what's up if you are in the chat here. We're kind of going to get this rolling as always. We're going to do a rookie mock draft. I kind of wanted to switch it up. Instead of doing a one quarterback mock draft right after, normally we like to hit a like goal. By the way, our like goal is 100 likes today. I was wondering if maybe we do an actual NFL like mock draft simulator, top 15 picks. I think the first 32 picks might be a little bit more intimidating, but since it's so top heavy offensively, should we potentially do a top 15 pick in the NFL draft just to get a nice little grasp of things, of what's going on? So let me know if you guys are keen for that coming into today here. We got Renee, we got Johnny, Eric, Jordan. What's happening? Eric said, who would you take at the 109 if Brian Thomas goes at the 108? Honestly, best player available there. I mean, that could be anyone. Quarterback, a wide receiver. JJ McCarthy. That could be, honestly, anyone if they are available here. So it just all depends. Really just all depends. Johnny says, I've never catched the live stream. Here's to full unemployment. Hey, sometimes unemployment is the best thing that can happen to you without realizing, right? Like, we lost our jobs, Zach and I, during COVID, and completely, we're here now. Now you're watching us. We're chilling with you because of COVID, because we lost our jobs. Zach was living in LA. He moved back to Australia. It kind of all just happens for a reason here. So honestly, it might be a little bit rough going at the start, but hey, anything can happen. What's happening, Jordan? Lucas, he says, hell yeah, for the NFL mock draft. Sounds dope. All right, once again, we got to hit that like goal, okay? So 100 likes is definitely the like goal to do that mock draft. I think, once again, it'll be a cool exercise to get that first 15. I think once we get closer and closer to the NFL draft, I'm pretty sure Zach and I will go through that, do that a couple times in the second half of the streams here. But I think that is going to be really, really good. Once again, practice. We need to get our thought process, shake things up as well here. Yeah, these landing spots are a little bit brutal here. And let's get straight into that. All right, let's get straight into those landing spots here, because I think we have to, I chose this one because I always emphasize we have to be ready for what's potentially going to be happening in some of these landing spots here in the NFL draft, because it's never the way it's going to go here. All right, so the landing spots is in the chat, also in the description here. Owen Jones here from PFN Pro Football Network here, breaking it down for us. And we're gonna get straight into these landing spots, and then I'll send that mock draft mock draft link to get into it. Okay, so definitely keep that in mind. Let's go through this first, and then we can have some fun here. At the 101, Caleb Williams going to Chicago Bears. That's pretty typical. Drake May, Washington Commanders here. New England Patriots, Jaden Daniels. Marvin Harrison to the Arizona Cardinals here. Malik Neighbors to the Los Angeles Chargers. That's also very interesting. JJ McCarthy to my beloved New York Giants. I'm not necessarily sure how I feel about that. At the moment, you guys let me know in the chat. Would you go JJ McCarthy or would you go Rome Odunze? Honestly, I don't know. Honestly, have no idea what I would do here. But I know we have Daniel Jones, may not be the right answer. Rome Odunze here goes to the Atlanta Falcons. I don't mind. Brock Bowers, a new landing spot that we've seen falling outside the top 5 to the Chicago Bears. Now, I am a massive Cole Kmet believer. I think this really affects Cole Kmet, of course. but getting Brock Bowers, I guess we would say best player available at the ninth spot for the Chicago Bears, potentially could make sense. Getting a quarterback, DJ Moore, Brock Bowers, all could potentially happen there. Bo Nix to the Denver Broncos, which is very, very interesting. Brian Thomas Jr. to the Indianapolis Colts. And then we kind of wait until a little bit to get our next player, which is Adonai Mitchell going to the Dallas Cowboys here. I like that, playing that big body role, taking over that, I guess, Michael Gallup role. I think he could definitely excel to the next level when he goes to the Dallas Cowboys. And then we continue to go here in the first round, and the next player off the board is Keon Coleman to the Kansas City Chiefs. You guys know how I feel about Keon here. Second round, Matt McConkey to the New England Patriots, linking up there with Drake May. I really like that. I mean, you think about this, he instantly gets 110 targets a game, or a year, excuse me, it feels like, which is very, very interesting. That can be a phenomenal landing spot there for Matt McConkey. Troy Franklin to my beloved New York Giants. That's all right. I don't mind that pick there. Then we have Michael Penix to the Vikings. We have Xavier Worthy to the Saints. Jatavion Sanders to the Bengals. Xavier Legette to the Cleveland Browns. That's an interesting pick as well and landing spot. Then we go down to Roman Wilson to the Buffalo Bills. Another landing spot. Ooh, what's going on here? Another landing spot I really like. Taking over that Gabe Davis, maybe that Shakira role there on side Stephon Diggs. I think that's a sexy spot there for Roman Wilson. Ricky Pearsall, Baltimore Ravens. Love that landing spot there as well. And then you go to the third round, Jalen Polk. I missed that. Jalen Polk to the Carolina Panthers, excuse me. Tez Walker to the Jets. I actually like that landing spot for him. Malachi Corley to the Atlanta Falcons. I think that's dead there, especially with Roma Dunze going. Malik Washington to the Chicago Bears. Then we keep going there. Jalen McMillan to the Houston Texans. Zach's not going to like that landing spot for sure. Trey Benson to the Green Bay Packers in the third. Jamari Thrash to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Arizona Cardinals getting Jonathan Brooks, a phenomenal landing spot for Jonathan Brooks here. Maybe he doesn't have to rush to come back in because of James Conner, and then he takes over that role next year. I think that can be really, really great there. Javon Baker to the Detroit Lions. Aldrick Estimate to the Baltimore Ravens, which I actually don't mind. He takes over that Gus Edwards role. We kind of been talking about it. All depends on landing spot for Aldrick Estimate for us here. What else do we got? Round 4 looks like we're going into Brandon Allen to the Chargers, Bucky Irvin to the Titans. There, I don't really love that landing spot for Bucky, unfortunately. Brandon Rice to the Jags. Then we have Spencer Rattler to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Johnny Wilson to the Texans. Says wide receiver / tight end. You love to see it there. Jalen Wright to the Vikings. Also a phenomenal landing spot for, oh my gosh, Jalen Wright. I kind of blanked there. Will Shipley to the Chiefs. Round 5, which would be the last one. Then you can go through round 6 and 7 by yourself. Blake Corum goes to the Patriots. Ben Sinnott to the Cardinals. There, Marshawn Lloyd to the Giants. I don't mind that landing spot. Jermaine Burton to the Panthers. Very good landing spot there for Jermaine Burton. Jacob Cohen to the Broncos. Taj Washington to the Titans. Michael Pratt to the Raiders. Adonai Smith to the Bengals. Keep going here. Dylan Lau to the Bills. Jaheim Bell to the Eagles there. That's an interesting landing spot. Jared Wiley to the Panthers. Jalen Coker to the Vikings. Joe Milton to the Saints is interesting. Jaquan Jackson also to the Saints. Isaac Davis to the Eagles. Dylan Johnson to the Cowboys. And Luke McCaffrey to the San Francisco 49ers. All right, once again, those landing spots are in the chat and in the description here. But if you want to join a mock draft, I'm going to pick, let's do 10 here. If you guys want to join a mock draft, guys, you guys know how to do that. Join our Discord, link in the description below, and link is going to be here in the chat. Once you join our Discord, go to the Fantasyland tab with the orange footballs to the left of your screen. Then go to content releases. That's how you can join each and every mock draft moving forward. okay, whether it's myself or with Zach here. So once again, join our Discord, link in the description below. Link is in the chat. I'm going to send that link right now to you guys in that tab. 3, 2, 1. All right, that link is out for you guys here. Jones says, I'm down for whatever. Never done an NFL mock draft. Let's get them charges. Yeah, like I said, I'm down. I'm down to do it. Johnny, it's a good thing I did it on purpose. So there you go. WG. Are you guys full-time streamers or still have regular jobs too? We definitely have some side jobs. Like sometimes I do some side graphic jobs. I know Zach does some side video edits on the side there for sure. But I would say we mostly do this full-time with some other jobs on the side there. Bowers to the Bears with Caleb and DJ would be a cheat code. What's happening, Maddie? All right, we got 3 more spots here. Let me just refresh this. Sometimes I'm just going to put that link in the chat then if you guys want to join this sleeper mock. There you go. There you go if you want to join that. It's a Superflex tight end premium. Superflex tight end premium. What else we got? We got one more spot here at the 12. And then we can get this started. One more is a spot. Let me see if I can put this in. Okay, there we go. We got somebody in. All right, here we got a minute and a half on the clock. We're gonna start this right now. Here we go. Superflex tight end premium here. Here we go. No surprise, Caleb Williams at the 101 to Chicago Bears. I mean, what are the chances that the Chicago Bears trade out of that first round pick? I think the closer and closer we get to the NFL draft, I think the less and less I'm starting to realize that that team is not moving out of that first round pick. They're really trying to get a haul from Justin Fields personally. But it's just very interesting. I'd really like to know what you guys think. Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Cardinals, Malik Neighbors to the Chargers, Drake May to the Washington Commanders there at the 104. And then Jones goes Brock Bowers at the 105, who does go, once again, to the Chicago Bears. A very, very interesting landing spot when you think of this whole thought process of Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, and Brock Bowers to the Chicago Bears. I think that could be a very, very sexy landing spot there for Brock Bowers. I hate it, once again, for my Cole Kmet stock. I have so much stock in Cole Kmet. I loved what he did. Led the team in receptions 2 years ago, second behind DJ Moore this past year. Man, that has been phenomenal. Jaden Daniels goes to the New England Patriots there. He gets a weapon in the second round. And then J.J. McCarthy to my beloved New York Football Giants. Once again, I'm not necessarily sure how I feel. There's parts of me that want to take J.J. McCarthy, and there's parts of me that say, I'm not necessarily sure if I want to take that risk. Should we build the offensive line first? Should we get the elite wide receiver 1 and know that we're not going to be good in 2024, and then hopefully have another top 10 pick? But at the same time, how often do you have top 10 picks going into the NFL draft in back-to-back years? Which is really, really interesting there. And Bo Nix, the Broncos taking him at the 12th spot there. At the 109, but at the 12th spot in the NFL draft. I think that is, once again, another interesting landing spot for Bo Nix. Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Javonte Williams here. They also get another weapon in the 3rd or 4th round, and Jacob Cowing. I'm not necessarily sure how I feel about that. All right, now I am on the board at the 110. there's a couple different places I can go here. I got 2 wide receivers. I don't like the landing spot for one, but I love the landing spot for another. Both of these landing spots really solidify these guys of being wide receiver 2s on the offense. But I'm going to continue and stick with my rankings. I go Brian Thomas Jr., who goes to the Indianapolis Colts in the first round. Don't love it. It doesn't make sense. In my personal opinion, yes, you have Michael Pittman Jr., who is franchise tag. You have Anthony Richardson, who we haven't really seen, right, produce a fantasy relevant wide receiver on a consistent basis. Now we have to do it for another one. I don't know. I don't know, man. I really don't know how I feel about that. Mitchell Franklin or Worthy at the 110. Well, Brian Thomas for me at the 110, but all depends on the landing spot, Miller. All really depends on that landing spot and where you think they're going to potentially be going. Double L, we need to start to consider the fact that Chicago might not take Caleb, but another quarterback. I mean, I don't know. Do they actually take another quarterback that's not Caleb Williams in the first round? First of all, I mean, in the 101, I'll be surprised. I won't be surprised. Let me just pause this here. I wouldn't be surprised if they take, they keep Justin Fields. Second year, we saw the progression. When I say progression and the way he was, helping DJ Moore produce, but at the same time, I think they wanted him to excel exponentially coming into this year as a different passer. I'm not necessarily sure how I feel about that. And this is, I really doubt it. I'll be shocked if that happens. Glamour said, yeah, I would be shocked if that does happen, but I wouldn't be shocked if they keep Justin Fields. So I guess there's 2 sides of that coin. I'll be shocked if they take someone like a Drake May or Jaden Daniels or even JJ McCarthy, who has had these talks of being the #1 pick in the NFL draft. That would be shocking. But if keeping Justin Fields wouldn't be shocking to me, because I've always been a Justin Fields believer. Now, I personally would take Caleb Williams over Justin Fields. I think he's a better prospect, better quarterback overall. And I think it would be smart for the Bears to reset that quarterback market for them. But at the same time, I think they invested so much in Justin Fields and they saw what they can do with DJ Moore. What if they continue to build off of that? I think that's a whole thought process that the Bears front office is going through. Jones says, I can't get back into it. It's just blank. Well, stay in the chat. And if you do get back, if you don't get back, what I can do is just tell me who you want. And then I'll put it in place of you. Okay, so keep that in mind. Maddie says, what do you have at the 201? Is lad not there? Once again, best player available. That can be a list of players, Roman Wilson, the Xavier Leggett, the Adonai Mitchells, the running backs, and Trey Benson and Jonathan Brooks, all depends here. But before we get into the second round, like always, we always like to say who is the best value in the first round here. So put that in the chat, and I'll give you my first 2 cents as those takes are coming in here. I mean, I'm looking at this and I think there is tremendous value everywhere. Jaden Daniels falls to the 107 with a top 3 pick. They're going to the New England Patriots. I don't see how he is not the most valuable player in this first round. Personally, I think this is a phenomenal pick at the 110. Yeah, Brock Bowers goes ahead of him, Rome Odunze, but you're getting a top 3 pick at the 107. That is a phenomenal value there in the first round. And I think a lot of people are agreeing there. Jaden Daniels, Sparrows, Johnny says Daniels for sure. Daniels by far. I completely agree there. Jaden Daniels is the best value so far in this mock draft here in the first round so far. All right, let's continue with the second round here. JC is on the clock. Double says, why do I see many prominent people with different QB rankings for this year's class? I agree. I completely agree. I think it just depends on the taste. And I think everyone's how can I say this? Yes, we have seen multiple different rankings, but that's only been, at least in my opinion, after the NFL Combine, which surprised me because we didn't see the top 3 throw, which in reality, it's only was JJ McCarthy that I've seen, quote unquote, should be the new number 1 wide receiver. I mean, we saw Jim Harbaugh come out and say that he's the best quarterback in the NFL draft. I mean, if that is the case, respectfully, does he believe in JJ McCarthy over Justin Herbert? I bet you the Chargers wouldn't let him take JJ McCarthy and then trade away Justin Herbert. That would be a crazy, crazy scenario. Imagine Jim Harbaugh has a top 5 pick in the NFL draft, who he has Justin Herbert, but my man really wants to go out and get his guy in JJ McCarthy and then sends Justin Herbert for a haul. I would hate that as a Chargers fan. If I were a Chargers fan, I doubt that's going to happen. But I mean, imagine in whatever dimension that actually does happen, how would we would react to that? That would be crazy. Zach says, where do you think Josh Jacobs lands? Man, there's a lot of places he could potentially go. I mean, I like the Chargers personally. I like the Raiders, him staying with the Raiders. I think he's going to end up staying with the Raiders. I think a lot of these running backs, potentially the Josh Jacobs, the Saquon Barkleys, would most likely stay with their team unless they get a phenomenal deal somewhere else. The running back market right now for these free agents have been absolutely terrible. And it hasn't gotten better since last year. If anything, it's gotten worse with all the available running backs now that we've seen of value. You know, you think of the Devin Singletaries, you think of the Alexander Madisons that are free agents, you think of all these guys that are free agents that you can pay, you know, $4 to $5 million for 1 year instead of, you know, paying the whole bank, essentially. I'm on the clock here. I have not been keeping up. Okay, so first round, let me just pause here and recap this second round for you guys, because I kind of been talking with the chat. Lam McConkey goes at the 201. He goes to the Patriots, so he links up there with Jaden Daniels, which I think is phenomenal. Michael Penix in the second round, also at the 201. He goes to the Minnesota Vikings, which is not a bad landing spot there with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Xavier Worthy going to the New Orleans Saints, and not in love with that landing spot there at the 203. You guys know how I feel about the New Orleans Saints, and even with Chris Olave, what is that quarterback room going to look like with Derek Carr? I don't love the future there for both of those guys. Now, if you're telling me the Saints revamp that quarterback room, maybe they bring in JJ McCarthy, maybe they bring back Bo Nix, and Derek Carr is no longer the guy that they think he's going to be, and they bench him, we'll have a whole different conversation. Jonathan Brooks, he goes to a phenomenal landing spot in the third round to the Arizona Cardinals at the 204. I don't mind that landing spot. Xavier Legette to the Browns, interesting landing spot. I'm not in love with it there. Troy Franklin to my beloved Giants to get another weapon there. Jalen McMillan going to the Texans. Once again, I don't love that landing spot. Keon Coleman to the Chiefs, and he went in the first round, right? And then Roman Wilson to the Buffalo Bills, who honestly, now looking at it, one pick before me, a phenomenal landing spot there. And I'm on the clock. I know exactly who I am going to take, and that is Slick Ricky Pearsall going to the Baltimore Ravens, who I love. I love this landing spot. I know a lot of people don't like the Baltimore Ravens as a landing spot, but I personally think this is one of the best landing spots for Ricky Pearsall in the second round. I would personally be taking him here. I think this is a phenomenal spot here. Sparrow said the Minnesota Vikings for Josh Jacobs. Yeah, that can definitely be a landing spot. That can definitely be a place where he could potentially go. Now Harlem Nights is on the clock. Tay, I see you in the sleeper chats. I should have stuck with my rankings and taken Coleman, but was guessing Worthy had better capital. I mean, yeah, look. At the end of the day, it feels like Worthy does No, it feels like, excuse me, Keon Coleman does have the better thought process going there, right, to the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'll pause it here again. But yeah, I definitely understand that thought process there. All right, guys, second round value. You go for it. Who do you think it is? I think we all know who is potentially the steal in this second round. I mean, I think there's actually two really good landing spots for two really good values in the second round here that I think could have potentially gone higher over the Xavier Worthies, over the Jonathan Brooks, potentially over the Xavier Legettes that could have been in from the 202 to that 205 range. For me, I think it's Keon Coleman, even though I don't love him, but getting still first round capital going to the Kansas City Chiefs, I think he could have been a top end second round pick in your rookie drafts. And then I'll also throw in Roman Wilson. Roman Wilson getting second round capital, top 60 pick, going to the Buffalo Bills. I think the conversation, whether you should be taking Roman Wilson with Josh Allen or Xavier Worthy, would be massive if this is the reality. The same thing could be said with Xavier Legette. The same thing could be said with Troy Franklin, who goes to my beloved New York Giants, right? He's going to a high caliber elite quarterback who has produced multiple fantasy relevant wide receivers. I think he could potentially go right there, right? Like the window is the 203 to the 206 in my personal opinion. I don't disagree with some of these ones. I said people saying Franklin, Troy Franklin. I get it. Troy Franklin at the 206. And maybe that's him falling already based off of that NFL Combine. That NFL Combine performance, 4.41, didn't do too great in the gauntlet, which in reality, does that really matter? No, but look, he is still a dynamic player, a guy that can play in the outside and in the slot, and that's exactly what you want to see. I still like Troy Franklin as a player. I think he did affect his combine, or his draft capital. Coleman can be the steal in the second round going to the Chiefs. There's been some bugs amongst the Vikings about Josh Jacobs. Okay, double L. I can definitely see that. I don't mind that too. I mean, they got rid of Alexander Madison, which can definitely be interesting. Pennies to the Vikings is kind of perfect for him, in my opinion. Jordan says, yeah. I mean, he lands there with two, the weapon, not even just two weapons, three weapons. TJ Hawkinson when he's back. Jordan Addison is going to be a solid, in my opinion, wide receiver too. And then one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League in Justin Jefferson. Easy. Absolutely easy. It's happening, Chief. Don't have to be mobile in that system. No, you don't. Jake said, I've been off Coleman for a while, but that draft capital with the Chiefs is awesome. Yeah. Let's start off the third round here, and we can kind of continue to talk about it. If you've been with us here, Jacob, Zach and I haven't been massive believers in Keon Coleman. Now, I'm more harsh than Zach, no question. I think he showed me a little bit more, but not enough to definitely change my opinion on him at the NFL Combine. I like the way he moved a little bit in these drills. I felt like he was a little bit more fluid than I expected. I thought he was a lot more stiff in routes when I was watching his tape. But once again, this is kind of the underwear Olympics, right? That's not something that is going to be consistent. Now, if he lands with the Chiefs and he's going to be this big body wide receiver that's going to go up and contest the catch there, that could be interesting when Travis Kelce is gone. They try and emulate that more with speed than size with the MVSs of the world. But now he may not be the fastest guy, but he is somebody that can go up and high catch and high point the ball, which could bring a new dynamic with the Kansas City Chiefs. Jalen Wright is a phenomenal pick there. Jalen Wright goes to the Vikings in the fourth round. Kind of puts those Josh Jacobs rumors to bed, unfortunately. Once again, guys, our like goal is 100. We're not even halfway there with 26. If you want to do a second, either mock draft or NFL draft. So guys, drop that like. It definitely helps us with the stream and getting more awareness to this live stream as well. So we appreciate each and every one of you here as we're going through this live stream. Yeah, Brooks went to the Cardinals there. Blake Corum off the board. He goes to the New England Patriots in the 5th round. Definitely an interesting landing spot for him as well. Not something or a landing spot I was expecting. I can definitely see where he can be a touch vulture when it comes down to goal line opportunities. I would say ahead of Ramondre Stevenson. Even though he's smaller, I think he just plays a little bit more physical, which is definitely something that I would say you have to be worried about if you are a Ramondre Stevenson believer. Jalen Polk to the Panthers, Marshawn Lloyd to my Giants. The more and more I hear about these rumors, not rumors, but I think Saquon Barkley is the biggest talk of the town in the running back free agency right now, and I don't want him to go. But at the same time, I think I'm ready to rip the Band-Aid off. Do I feel okay? Like, should I feel okay, chat? Let me know. Should I feel okay to keep Saquon Barkley, who is the best weapon on our team, and just paying him the money? Not the money that he wants, but if he wants like 15 million. What if we gave him 13 a year? It's probably still too much. But I don't want Saquon to leave either. If you don't have Saquon, it's nobody. Tell me who's on the Giants without Saquon Barkley. Yeah, you got Wandale. Yeah, you got Jalen Hyatt, Darren Waller. Who? Daniel Jones. Who? I'm not ready. It's okay to not be okay. Yeah, my heart's gonna drop when I get that message that Saquon Barkley has agreed to a 3-year deal. Insert team. Dead inside. I heard it's very likely Houston's where Barkley's going. Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing a lot. This past week, Houston, the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Chargers, every single team is perfect for Saquon. Why? Because he's such a dynamic player, and he's still only 26 years old, looking for that second contract. He got that franchise tag, of course, but still looking for that second contract, which means that you think he's going to get a 2 to 3 year deal. By the time he's quote unquote at the end, he's going to be 28 years old. Like, I get it. Are you out on Schrader at the combine? Cody, yeah, I mean, he didn't perform or test the way I was hoping, but someone to keep an eye out on still. Like, I'm not out on him. I think he's more of a sleeper instead of like somebody I was hoping to see a fantasy pathway for. Anything north of 10 mil is too much where you can get Swift for about 6. Yeah, I know. That's why I think we should just franchise tag him, or we should have. Because I think it is going to take an extra, let's just say we offer him, hypothetically, let's just say, okay, we stretched our budget a little bit to 12, but the Texans, the Chargers or whatever, stretched theirs to 14. Saquon's going to want us to match that, and I'm not necessarily sure if Brian Dable or Joe Shane is going to do that. $2 million more, I guess, in their mind, which I would agree is probably significant for a running back. Let me pause again here and then catch up with the draft. Marshawn Lloyd, once again, to the Giants. Braylon Allen, he goes to the Los Angeles Chargers in the 5th round, which is not terrible. Malachi Corley goes to the Atlanta Falcons in the 3rd round. I hate that landing spot for him, especially with Rome Odunze going there to the Atlanta Falcons in the 1st round. Jermaine Burton as well going to... Where'd Jermaine go, actually? Where did Jermaine go? Oh, there he goes. He goes to the Panthers in the 5th round, which I like. Don't know the draft capital, but still, there is a massive pathway there for him. Aldrick Estime, Where did he go as well? I think Aldrich Esme went to. He went to the Ravens. There you go. Aldrich Esme going to the Ravens. Yes, taking over that Gus the Bus role, which I don't mind. Brendan Rice. He goes at the 3 and 9, and he goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Another interesting landing spot there once again. And now I'm at the 3-10 now that we are officially caught up. Let's see where I can find some value here. There's still a second round tight end. It is tight end premium, so I think I might be leaning that way already. There's a couple wide receivers in the third round. Don't love the landing spot. Where are these running backs? Where did Bucky goes to the Titans? Man, that's tough. I think I'm going to go with the tight end here. Oh no, Tavion Sanders went in the second round, so I'm already off that. So I guess I'm going potentially be going with. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Bucky, unfortunately. He's the next player in my rankings. Don't love the landing spot. You think of Bucky Irving and Tajay Spears there. Is this going to be a split backfield with two pass-catching guys? I think Tajay Spears would easily be the #1 guy there based off of his size, and Bucky more of the gadget guy. But don't love that landing spot there. We did get a super chat from El Tigre. Appreciate you. Stream pitch. You should mock draft one of the Dynasty League boards. See how folks draft on real league boards. Hashtag tacky. Look, that could definitely be interesting. That sounds fun. So you should mock one of the Dynasty League boards. See how folks draft on a real league board. That would be interesting. I mean, that would be a whole crazy concept there that we can definitely pitch. That would be awesome, actually. El Tigre, man, you're awesome, brother. We appreciate you. Let me ask you a question if you're still in the chat. What should you do with Snead? What should you do with Snead? I know you're a Chiefs fan. Should you keep him? Or should you trade him away for a haul potentially? Or just should you pay him the money? That's my biggest question to you, because I think I've seen a lot of mixed reports. Keep him. So keep him on the tag this year and then extend him next year in hopes of that. Pay for the clutch. Okay. I think he was a big addition, and I don't see why you guys won't keep him. Respectfully, Chris Jones has been phenomenal, but I mean, how old is he? Let me double check. Isn't he like 32 plus? Or am I tripping about that? Oh, he's 29. Never mind. He's 29. He's 20. Wow. He's only 29. I could have sworn. I thought he was 30. Like I said, the 31, 32 plus, still balling out the way he was. That's incredible. I'm saying please Barkley to the Ravens. Sparrow says Andrew Thomas, but he plays O-line. I mean, franchise, a smart move to get rid of Barkley, but it's going to crush wherever he goes. Yeah. We'll find, it says, I'll pay him this year. I think Mahomes reworks. We'll find cap space. Snead is still very young. And I think that's the thing. I think you need to prioritize youth. The youth has to be, in my opinion, a priority, especially if you want to be keeping, or especially with Patrick Mahomes, right? You still have this young, youthful NFL and team defense, So the fact that you can potentially keep him and then continue to grow with him, I think will be phenomenal. But I think it'll be tough. It'll be tough to not to trade him away to get a haul. I mean, it depends how good the haul is, though, right? All right, We see Isaac Horrendo. He goes in the 7th round, but I think the landing spot is favorable for him. He goes to the Washington Commanders. Something in a pathway that you can potentially see him flourish ahead of, Brian Robinson. That could be very interesting. Luke McCaffrey goes there. Jacob Cohen, Ray Davis, Johnny Wilson, Cade Stover, and then Malik Washington, who goes in the 3rd round, but to the Chicago Bears. Not necessarily sure where he can find a pathway, unfortunately, in this world. DJ Moore, Brock Bowers there with Caleb Williams. Maybe he does, and maybe he doesn't. I'm not necessarily sure, but it feels like a tough landing spot for someone like a Malik Washington there. Altigra said, how much sooner invest the money into our defense? This ship entirely is then back to right. Okay. What's happening, Styles? How you doing? Whoever's at the 104 sniping with Lloyd and Cowing. Yeah, that's tough. I'm surprised this player. Let me just double check if this guy went. Yeah, he did go. Okay. I'm on the clock here. And Michael Pratt goes off the board. He goes to the Raiders in the 5th round. Another guy that can potentially easily step into an opportunity, step into some competition in the second half of the season. Or not second half of the season, but just with Aiden O'Connell there, if he doesn't pan out. All right, I think I'm going to be taking Jamari Thrash here. One of the last 3rd round wide receivers still available. He does go to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, the pathway is a little bit difficult, but Mike Evans signed a 2-year contract extension. What's going to happen with Chris Godwin? Can he find a pathway? I'm not necessarily sure, but I'm going based off draft capital here. Yeah, the Isaac Horrendo pathway to success there is phenomenal. Antonio Gibson, if I'm not mistaken, a free agent, most likely walking away. Brian Thomas Jr., who I love, not Brian Thomas, Brian Robinson, who I actually really like, and I thought he did phenomenal this past year. But Isaac Horrendo could easily eat into that opportunity with no one there, essentially. So I like that pathway. Taking Neighbors either at the 105. Is he there or Bowers? I just traded for McBride today, though. Okay, you're talking about. I made some moves and now own the 205, 206, 210. Right, okay. Makes sense. Now looking like we got the like goal here, unfortunately, guys. I wonder if we can make it to 50 likes. If we can make it to 50 likes, I'll at least do a 1 quarterback mock draft there. I gotta stay firm on these. Gotta stay firm. So if you could drop a like, but as you guys are doing that, I'll just do a nice little advertisement for you guys. If you guys want to get our version 3 of our rookie scouting report, that is coming out tomorrow around this time, around 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be releasing our version 3 of our rookie report, updated NFL combines, updated NFL rankings, new rookie profiles like we saw Isaac Horrendo and some of these other running backs, some of these other wide receivers here. You get our rookie report, dynasty team reviews, as we've seen for so many people already helping these guys, our premium trade calculator, our personal DM with Zach and myself, and so much more. All you have to do is use that promo code LAND when signing up at flockfantasy.com. Obviously, you can get that 30% off. You can scan that QR code or just go to account. Make sure you link your Discord, and then we'll get you all set up. So get our version 3 of our rookie report, which is coming out in 24 hours for you guys, and so much more information. I think we could be having some new stuff there as well, and significant. Zach and I have been working on getting some really good new stuff for version 4, so just keep that in mind as well. So once again, if I can get to at least 50 likes, let's see how many likes we are at right now. We're 8 likes away. I'll answer a couple questions here and I'll refresh. And once I'm done with these questions, then if there's not 50 likes, then I might call it a day there. Worried Benson and Brooks are gone. Is Corm worth it? Griffin said. I think it just depends on landing spot and draft capital when it comes down to Blake Corm. I like him. I think a lot of it is landing spot dependent, unfortunately. Does a team review require an annual membership? Yes. I might just take Lloyd if they're gone. Joshua said, if Corm gets drafted to the Chargers with Harbaugh, that would be a huge win for him. Granted, it's really dependent on the Chargers draft. Yeah. I would say this. Austin Eckler's gone. Even if Blake Corm goes to the Chargers in the 5th round and they draft no one else, hypothetically, that is phenomenal for Blake. But if Blake goes in the 5th round and they also get another running back maybe in round 4, or maybe they get 2 running backs back to back, or they get a free agent guy like a Devin Singletary, that's also going to be something that we're going to have to monitor, because the instant thought process, Devin Singletary signs a 1-year contract with the Chargers, but they draft Blake in the 5th round. How do we navigate that? And I think once we understand it a little bit more as we get closer to the season, that will be a lot easier here. All right, well, I answered all those questions. Still only 1 like, only 5 likes away. So look, I'm not going to force it. I might just call it here. Been live for about 40, nearly an hour here, but I really appreciate each and every one of you. How about this? I answer 5 questions. The next 5 questions here for you guys, and then I'll call it a night. Any 5 questions that you guys have here. But yeah, once again, we really appreciate each and every one of you. I'll wait for a couple minutes for these questions to come in if there's anyone out there, but if not, I'm going to call it. Let's see here. What's for lunch here? 11:53, Sydney, Australia. Definitely nearly midday. Some lunch is going to be a phenomenal. Style says, what did the Giants do at pick 6? Honestly, I've been trying to figure that out myself, Styles. I kind of mentioned it earlier. I'm torn between 2 things. I think it's clear that Daniel Jones is not the answer. Now, we've seen Brian Daboll and Joe Sain develop a quarterback like Josh Allen. I'm not comparing J.J. McCarthy to Josh Allen, but if I'm at the top 6 pick and there are NFL teams already either blowing smoke or it's actually true that they believe J.J. McCarthy is this guy, I think it's best to draft J.J. now instead of getting a Gardner Minshew in free agency, instead of getting a Russell Wilson in free agency. I'd rather get a nice young quarterback now and let him develop, even if he sits for 1 year, rather than us not taking a quarterback. I think we need to get rid of Daniel Jones. When I say get rid of, I think we need to just say we're done with Daniel Jones. We made the mistake of signing him for $40 million. So I think the best case scenario, if J.J. McCarthy or any of the top 3 quarterbacks are available, I think that's probably the best bet, personally. That's number 1. Other scenario, by the way, if the top 3 quarterbacks are not there and they take a Malik Neighbors, I'm really happy. They take a Joe Alt, I'm really happy. So I'm really happy with any of the top 3 quarterbacks, Joe Alt or J.J. McCarthy and Malik Neighbors. I think I said Malik Neighbors. So I'm really happy with any of those things there. Second question, out of 5 here, Jacob, in a 1 quarterback league, would you trade Puka for the 103 in Drake London? Doomsday will be the pick. In a 1 quarterback league, would you trade Puka for the 103 in Drake London? Man, my question to you will be, how many starters are there? If this is a start 10 or 11, I'll be interested in that. If this is a start 8, I'm keeping Puka. Question 3 out of 5, Lucas. 2 quarterbacks, super flex, only 4-point quarterback, 4-point passing touchdowns, I'm assuming. 1 point tight end premium, so you go Bowers, Neighbors, or best QB at 4. 1 point tight end premium. 2 quarterbacks, super flex, only 4-point passing. I'm okay with Bowers. I'm okay with Bowers in the best available quarterback because you know you're gonna get Bowers in the tight end premium there, and then you know you're gonna get one of those quarterbacks at the 104, which I'll be really happy with. So that was 1, 2, 3. Question 4 out of 5. Griffin, the 203 for Swift. The 203 for Swift. I think I want the 203, depending on your running back room. I think the wide receivers at the 203 this year are phenomenal. I mean, we just saw at the 203 in this mock draft Xavier Worthy go. Is that a Jonathan Brooks at the 203? Is that a Trey Benson at the 203? Is that a Troy Franklin, a Lam McConkey? I think the talent around that 203 name, that 203 area is phenomenal. Now, if you're telling me that DeAndre Swift signs with the Chargers, that could be a different scenario. But at the moment, without context, without any of that understanding, I'm taking the 203. All right, and the last question here, Sparrow. It says, who should I take? Dotson, Quentin, D-Hop, Deontay, Roscoe, Warren, or Chubb? What do you mean? Like, out of what? Like, off the waiver wires? Or who do you take in general? I mean, my first thought process that I still want to take, I still want Jahan Dotson. That's what I would say. Oh, in a startup. Well, where is this at, Sparrow? Is this like, out of all these names, I'll be honest, off the top of my head, without the context, you're saying in a startup, if the price is right, I want Jahan Dotson. New quarterback, new head coaching regime. I want those guys to come in, or I want Jahan Dotson to be on my team. I bought him in multiple videos already so far this offseason, saying that he's a phenomenal buy. A new head coaching regime, a new offensive coordinator in Cliff Kingsbury. There's talks about the Washington Commanders moving up, if they could, to get Caleb Williams, and he links up with his old head coach in Cliff Kingsbury as a new offensive coordinator to his new NFL team. If that actually happens, I want Jahan Dotson everywhere. Everywhere. This is what I'll say. I'll do this in order. How about this? Jahan Dotson, Warren, Quentin, Roscoe, or Quentin, Deontay, Roscoe, DeAndre Hopkins. That's where I would go. I still believe in Quentin Johnston, personally. I know he had a terrible year. I don't think he was fully, I guess, unleashed or given the opportunity, even though these guys were down. Even when they were down, he only got targeted 5 times. But yes, targets are earned. Completely understand. But another thing, a new head coaching regime, this is what I would say. If they don't draft Brock Bowers or Malik Neighbors in the top 5 pick, Quentin Johnson is still alive. But they could get another wide receiver in the second round. Anything can happen. I'm still believing in Quentin. I could be wrong. He may not be this top guy that we all expected, but hey, to be fair, neither is Jackson Smith-Njigba. And I'm not saying that he's not the guy, because I still believe in Jackson Smith-Njigba as well. I think a lot of people had significantly more praise for Jackson Smith-Njigba year 1. And it was a very underwhelming year, I would say, for the Jackson Smith-Njigba believers. But I still believe in Jackson Smith-Njigba as much as I believe in Quentin Johnson. So I'm just saying, just trying to put it in perspective to where I was at. That's about it. Just looking through some comments. Russell Wilson's visiting the Steelers soon. That's very, very interesting. Yeah. If he goes there, big upgrade for Johnson. Yeah, I would completely agree there. All right, guys, we appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Once again, version 3 of our rookie report coming out tomorrow. This time, so many more profiles, so much more information, NFL Combine stats, so much more coming out in version 3. So definitely get that if you sign up at flogfantasy.com. We'll see you next week. As always, we appreciate each and every one of you, and it's all love.